Yeah! Whoa! Right, welcome back guys. Today I'm going to convert this 250 watt 15.5 mile an hour Hovsco bike, slow as hell, to Kirby bike power with a 1500 watt to 2000 watt kit. So basically you can see I've already started to take this thing apart, taken the battery out of here, started to remove like the panel under here which the battery slots into. The battery this runs on is like a 36 volt, don't know what the amp hour is, it's pretty low, but basically yeah, it's not got enough power. This thing, this hub drive is, you know, it's not even a geared one, so it's not really that powerful at all. There's no torque, it's just rubbish, to be honest. So well, that's a bit unfair. It's not completely rubbish, it's good as a pedal assist bike, and I've done the review on it saying that as well. So but what I want is a throttle powered bike for off-road use, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to basically just fit our 20 amp hour battery in here. Haven't worked out how I'm going to do that yet. Probably involves some cable ties. So next step really is to remove the back wheel. This is super easy. You just literally take off the bolts on the axle and that's it, and the wheel will drop out. I've already unconnected it from here, so I'm going to rip out all the electronics. Nothing's going to be standard on here. I'm even going to take the light off as well, because you're not going to be able to use that with the controller that I'm going to put on. So here's the motor kit. The motor wheel is under there, but I just want to tell you about this because this comes in the kits now. This is a complete tool kit, so basically you don't need any other tools to fit this kit. It even comes with a pretty robust adjustable spanner here, which you can use to take the wheels off, which I'm going to do now. I've already loosened it and that should just come off absolutely fine, and I'll do the other side and the wheel should just lift out. I'm going to save all these washers. You get them in the kit, but it's always handy to have spares. Other side, this one's slightly different because you've got the wire for the motors coming out basically of the centre of that bolt. Our one doesn't do that because the wires are too fat because it's just too powerful. But I'm going to take off all this and just get rid of this gammy guard as well. Wheel pulls out pretty easy. Got to watch the chain because it obviously gets caught on there. So just pull that out and that'll come off. And that's basically it. Old motor wheel is out. So just test fitting the motor wheel. It all fits nicely. Now this particular motor wheel is actually for a cassette style, which slides over this spline here. It's not the same as the one that came on the bike, so I'm going to have to get a new free wheel. Normally you would order the right kit for the job. So yeah, make sure you do that. But yeah, everything's lining up okay. The brake disc might be an issue because obviously you can see here it's not completely lining up. It might be alright, we'll have to see. I might need to just move this caliper across a little bit. There's a spacer on here as well, so without that it might line up a bit better anyway. So we'll get that disc on there now and see what's what. So this is the powerful motor, guys. Look at the size of that versus the old one which is there. So look how small that is. It's just a massive difference, and this is just so powerful, this motor. Right, it really is. So I'm going to whip the brake disc off here and put it onto here, obviously the other side, and it goes on that side there with those bolts. These are just simple hex bolts, and you get a little set of Allen keys with the kit. That's cool. So let's find the right one. It's so handy having all the tools included for this, really is. You might encounter these might not actually be hex, they might be Torx. If you have got Torx on your bike, or the disc you're trying to get off, you'll need those tools obviously. But yeah, easy to get. Disc is ready to come off. Right, all these bolts are removed. That's the spacer I was talking about, so I'm just going to remove that because I don't think we're going to need that. Disc goes on nicely, all lined up. Right, discs on. It's important to make sure these are really tight. Use thread lock if you can. Just get them really tight because you don't want these driving their way out and basically cutting into this wire. That is one of the most common problems I see. People's motors stop working because one of these has come out and it's just gone straight through the wire. Okay, so next up on the bike, I've just loosened the caliper, and that gives you lots of movement there. So basically that gives me flexibility to put the motor in if the caliper isn't straight, and then we can just line the caliper up. It's not a big deal, guys, doing this. I know some people are scared about kind of, you know, undoing the brakes, but you need to line the brakes up properly with this anyway because it's a different motor and disc. Right guys, the wheel's in. I've just taken the packaging material off around the outside so I can actually kind of freewheel it. Now what I've ended up with is a washer here. Obviously you need a washer on either side, but you might have to play around with different sizes to get it to line up. I've kind of used the thicker one this side so that it kind of gives me a bit more to play with this caliper because we were running out the limit of where to go. I've got to tighten this caliper up, but it's actually kind of exactly in the right place now, and that is spinning absolutely lovely, so there's no problem there. Once we get it back together, I'll just hold the brake in and then just tighten these up, and then that will centre that caliper. Absolutely lovely. But you can see what I mean about the brake disc screws here. You've got to be really careful. So when you kind of finish up, you need to just tie strap this away from all these other bolts so it's never going to come in contact with them. Next up, we're going to sort out the gears, the cassette. Basically, I need a slot over one to go over that spline, as I said. I'm going to stick the tyre on for now, and then I can whiz down the bike shop and just get a new sort of freewheel to go over there. I think this particular one comes in 8-speed, even though this is a 7-speed derailleur. Anyway, let's get the tyre off of this one. Even get a tyre lever in the kit. Right, so the tyre's been transferred over now. Pretty straightforward. Just make sure you get the direction right as well, because some of these tyres are directional. I'm not going to show you how to put a tyre on, because if you can't do that, you probably shouldn't be doing this. Give it a bit of pressure. Right then, off to the bike shop. Got the wheel in the back. Alright, got one just slot straight over there. Thanks to the bike shop for putting this freewheel on. Well, it's actually a cassette. They had to use a couple of spacers behind here, which has meant that it's made it a bit wider, and I've had to kind of bend the dropouts a bit. So it was a bit of a ball ache, but it's in, guys. That's the main thing, and everything's kind of tightened up. With this, good thing about this frame is the fact that it's kind of got a bit of a built-in strengthening around here for a torque arm, so you don't really necessarily need to have, you know, a torque arm, because this is quite built up already, because it's already an e-bike, and that's what you'll find. Brake disc is lining up okay. I need to tighten that caliper up, but I mean, basically we're getting there. All I need really to do is put the battery on, put the controller and throttle and stuff. The controller's going to go in, I think the controller will go in that little recess there, and that'll make it quite neat actually, so I can kind of thread wires through the existing holes. Again, this is a good thing about converting e-bikes. You've already got channels to run a lot of the cables in, so you can make it quite neat. Anyway, I'm going to start ripping cables out, get rid of that old crappy controller, get rid of that display as well, that needs to come off. Yeah, I hate this gear lever, but it is what it is. Right, pretty much everything's been removed now. Most of the wires have been taken out, leaving us with nice spaces for the cables. Last thing to come off is the display. And now we can start fitting the proper stuff. So this is the new controller, guys. Massive improvement over the last one. Doesn't get as hot. It's much more efficient as well. Sine wave, of course, and it's FOC as well. So the control is a lot smoother. So we're going to be testing that out, obviously. And I think that should literally just fit in there. So we can actually stick that down. But I think that's a great place for that, actually. It's probably better that way around, because then the motor wires line up with that. So you've got basically motor phase wires. You've got the hall sensor connector there, and that's for the battery. So if we stick that there, then obviously the other connectors are going to go up to the handlebars where the throttle, I've already kind of just draped the throttle over there. I've run that through that little hole on the side of the bike, so it's super easy to install. So I think this should end up quite a neat build. So I've just loosened everything on here. I've put the throttle in. Unfortunately, this throttle, we do have to take everything off to actually get it on. We have got some other throttles which I've got a clamp underneath, so you don't need to remove things, which is nice. But in this kit, they're still using this throttle. So yeah, I've kind of just test fit everything there. I've had to move this up obviously, and just kind of, you know, get that so it all kind of works ergonomically there. Brake is still kind of reachable, so that's obviously a good thing. And yeah, everything's good. Actually, I should swap these brakes around, because they put the left-hand side one on the wrong. Yeah, basically typical Chinese bikes. The brakes are the wrong way around. So I'm going to do that now before I tighten everything up. Right, made a fair bit of progress. Display's on. The control for the display and the on and off switch are up, down. Actually, that's the wrong way around. But yeah, we got throttle over here as well. So everything's moving forward. I've just plugged the battery in just to test it. And you can see here, if you just hold this button down on the top, got a new style display here, which is really nice. And just a quick little test. It's all working, it's moving forward. So next step, get the battery on there. Obviously this isn't really kind of designed to go on a bike like this, but it does actually fit quite nicely in there. There's a bit of a recess, so I'll just tuck that wire in there. And then I think I'll just use big heavy duty tie wraps to get that on there. That will not come off if we just clamp that right in. So let's do that now. All done. The battery's on there. I'm going to get some longer straps, because I've had to use 2 to get around the whole thing. But I mean, it is pretty stable like that. There might be a better way of doing it. I'm going to have a look into that, but you know, generally that is not going anywhere. That is properly on there, so it's not going to come off. But yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Pretty neat looking build. We'll see how fast it goes. I think because this kit has got a pretty good top speed. But yeah, exciting. Right guys, test run time. So, I'm in full power mode. Feels pretty nippy. It's picking up speed pretty quick. So obviously we're off-road at the minute. Yeah, this is way better than it was. I mean, before obviously it didn't have a throttle, it just had pedal assist, but this is pretty damn good. It's the thing about these sort of kits is they do pick up speed very, very quickly. It's not like a crazy amount of torque down below, so you are noticing that this being a heavier bike. But I tell you what, it's got some top speed. We'll have to find somewhere. Yeah, we'll have to find somewhere a bit kind of private on a road stretch and see if we can do like an actual top speed test. But this is pretty damn good. This is a lot of fun. Yeah! Whoa! These brakes aren't too bad as well. Like they're all right. You know, I'm starting to prefer these. The first ever build that I did that was really quick was obviously the 5,000 watt 5000S that we sort of, you know, were selling. A bit like the enduro e-bike thing. Those sort of days. Yeah, that first build I had Avid cable brakes on, and I tell you what, they were so good. They were really, really good. I'd say better than some of the hydraulics I've tested. You know, then I went over to Hope, but I had problems with Hope because obviously, you know, it's the maintenance with hydraulics, that's the problem. But anyway, this is a lot of fun. Battery level was now gone. Actually, you know what, I didn't charge this. It was showing about 4 bars, but it's gone down now because I've been hooning it around. It is so much fun. Do you know, there's not any kind of noise of the, you know, you kind of, if you've ridden e-bikes before, you sometimes with the hub motors you get a kind of a grinding sound where it's not particularly smooth down below. This is so smooth, this controller. It is really, really smooth. All right, let's go this way. It's sort of day where there's no one around in here. Funnily enough, these gears actually line up pretty well. End up getting some air. Yeah, the gears line up pretty well actually. I haven't even adjusted them. Yeah, it's fast. It is fast. It's a fast bit of kit. On a lighter bike, it's even better. You've got to wear a lid for this. Decided to feel that front suspension. The Zoom forks on here are not that great. Oh, that's good, really good. 23, 24, 26. It's gonna keep on going. It's gonna keep on going. That's 30 then. Effortless. Quite got enough power to get up that, but you need some good brakes. There's a lot of stuff falling down in here. How are you? Let's go this way. Oh, I don't recognise this now. It's all grown up. Did a lot of flying in here. Oh, that is overgrown down there. I'm not going down there. Cut my legs up. Shooting at me. They're in trouble navigating. Front suspension don't feel right. I'm going to test. I'm just going to check it. Nothing's loose. It just don't feel right. Probably need something a bit more substantial, really. Don't think it's going to last long doing this sort of stuff. So if you want to do this, then you know you've got a few hoops to jump through, but I'd say it's worth it 100% to transform your bike, your existing e-bike. Of course, if you do it with a normal bike, then it's even better because it's probably lighter. But it's made this Hovsco into something fun, which it wasn't before. So yeah, guys. So let's just show you that top speed unloaded before I go. 46 miles an hour. I reckon that's going to make about 40, no problem at all. Right guys, catch you next time.